Where do we begin with this Arsenal Sporting game? You guys know I'm Portuguese. Eu sou português. I watch this Sporting team a lot. Eu sou português, but I'm Benfiquista. I'm a Benfica fan, right? So I didn't want Sporting to go through, but I also didn't want Sporting to go out. As a Portuguese person, I understand. I know a lot of Portuguese people look at stuff different, right? They're like, oh, this is our rivals. We want them out. For me, it's like this, bro. If they advance, it's good for Portugal. It's good for the Portuguese football. Point blank, period, right? End of the day, do I think that Sporting really deserves to be going out? Do I think Arsenal deserves to be going through? Honestly, I think both games were extremely boring. And now I didn't watch the full 90 on this game because I was watching Real Madrid. Watched the highlights back, talked to my cousin. I think Sporting had a really good first half, right? My cousin's a huge Sporting fan. I think Sporting had a really good first half. Jenny hits the post, a lot of opportunities for Trincao. I think Sporting was very much in this game. Which scares me for Arsenal. Really scares me for Arsenal. First of all, I think Sporting's a very, very good team. I told you guys something. I told you guys a few things. I told you guys that when the draw came out, when they came out before Madrid got City, I told you that if Madrid got Sporting, that they would struggle with that team because they struggled with Benfica, and Sporting, in my opinion, is a better organized team than Benfica. They counter better. They just play as a team better. Benfica's really, really off this year and been off for a few years due to signings. So I told you that I thought that Sporting would actually have given Madrid a really, really hard time. Probably a harder time than City gave them because City opened up. Sporting wasn't going to open up. And I think Arsenal had a really hard time with Sporting, the way they can clamp up and the way they know how to counter. And you saw the opportunities that Sporting created. I think they hit the post in both games. But Arsenal does enough to see off Sporting, just enough. And I get this feeling about Arsenal. For a long time there, I called Arsenal the best team in Europe because mathematically, they looked like the best team in Europe. They were dominating the Premier League. They were dominating the Champions League. They were scoring a lot of goals. They were clicking as a team. They looked like a well-oiled machine. Now that we get to the semifinals, I've seen a lot of teams that have played, or the quarterfinals, I've seen a lot of teams that have played better than Arsenal, right? Barca played incredible in their game. Atletico Madrid played incredible in their game. Real Madrid played pretty good against City and against Bayern. Bayern played incredible, and PSG were top of the top. For me, PSG probably are the team playing the best football in the world. But when you look at this Arsenal team, there is a lot going their way. They got the set pieces down. They can win boring games. And then there's a lot not going their way. It's been a hard month for them. They're not doing well in England. This Sporting game was not convincing. I think they play Atletico Madrid next, which if I'm being truly freaking honest with y'all, I think Atleti can eliminate Arsenal. I'm going to say that from the bottom of my heart. I think Atleti will be able to deal with the attack of Arsenal. I think that they'll be able to also play a boring game like Arsenal. So I think Atleti can eliminate Atleti can eliminate Arsenal. With that being said, I could also see Arsenal making the final. Because Arteta knows what Simeone does. He can do it as well. So Arsenal can also slow the game down, be very boring, and get to the final. Here's the deal. I could sit here right now and tell you how bad it was, how boring it is, and how Arsenal maybe doesn't deserve to be going to the semifinals. But here's the facts. In the Champions League, it does not matter how you do it. It does not matter if you score 8 goals. It doesn't matter if you score 10 goals. It doesn't matter if you score 1 goal and don't let the other team score over 2 legs. At the end of the day, they are in a semifinal of a Champions League. And Barca played incredible and are going to watch the game from home. So at the end of the day, what it comes down to is this. They played not the best football. They're not in the best form in Europe, but they're in a semifinals of a Champions League. And they're in a semifinals against Atletico Madrid, where on paper, you would say, Arsenal should get the slight edge based on how their season's gone in the Premier League, based on the team that they've been in the Champions League. You would give them the slight edge over Atleti Madrid. Now, Atleti is a team that when they do face Lookman, Julian Alvarez, Antoine Griezmann, they're not a team to overlook, especially with the pace of Lookman. They can definitely get in behind Arsenal. But at the end of the day, like I told you guys, Arsenal should be favorites going into that game. Arsenal should be looked at as still a powerhouse in Europe, even though the slight fall off of what they've had over the last month. And I think a lot is going to be determined this weekend. This weekend, they play Man City. And if they could beat Man City, the league is pretty much theirs. All they have to do is not choke it. And the league should have been there. They started choking it, but they can really put the nail in the coffin. With that being said, although you didn't play good against Sporting, and although you've had a pretty bad last month of football, you beat City. If you beat City, you've now eliminated Sporting. You're in fantastic season still on. So all of that narrative of, oh, Arteta can't win, Arteta can't this, Arteta can't that. True. Maybe it is all true. And maybe he is a choke artist. But all that can go to rest right now. They eliminated Sporting in a game they had to win. In a team, no matter who your opponent is, you have to advance. It doesn't matter how you advance. They advanced. Knocking anyone out in the quarterfinals is not easy. They advanced, right? They advanced into the semifinals. They're there. A lot of teams aren't there. They are there. They're into the semifinals no matter who they beat. They have this City game coming up. If they can win this game, what a season. The whole narrative and the whole conversation we're having right now, everyone forgets about how poor they've been, the bad football they've been playing, the lack of form from their players. Everyone forgets everything. All of that goes out the window. All Arsenal have to do, tough task, is go beat City, and everything is fine. So, again, do I think it's been pretty? Do I think that over the last month, Arsenal has looked like the best team in the world? Absolutely not. Should they still be talked about as one of the best teams in the world? Absolutely. Because you're not going to take an entire 6 months of football and throw it away because of 1 month, whatever it's been. How many months have we been? It starts in August, like September, October, November, December, January, February. We're not going to take 6, 7 months of football, throw it in the trash and be like, oh, this team is because of one bad month. We're not going to do that. Arsenal is Arsenal. Yes, it was boring. Yes, it was ugly. Yes, it wasn't a great game against Sporting. Yes, they didn't 100% dominate Sporting and deserve to. Fine, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're into the semifinals now. And what matters now is the City game and when they face Atleti. That's what matters. Nothing else matters. Nothing else should be talked about. So do I think Arteta's having I think Arteta's having a horrible last month. But I think as a whole of a season, it's not that bad. He's having a good season. Yes, the FA Cup. Yes, the EFL Cup, which doesn't matter. Yes, those competitions went negative for them. But at the end of the day, semifinals of a Champions League, City. If you lose to City and you go out to Atleti, there needs to be a conversation about Arteta's job. But right now, that should not be in question. That should not be talked about. What should be talked about if you're an Arsenal fan is supporting the team. Hopefully this game gives them a little bit of confidence that they're able to keep Sporting out. I will be honest with you. And should you be confident going into the City game? It's scary. It is scary. I'll be honest with you. It's scary. It's very, very, very scary because the way they looked against Sporting. But I will tell you this. City's at home in the Champions League and Arsenal's in the semis. And you'll say, well, hold on. They played Sporting. Doesn't matter, bro. You get what you get. Some teams make the final of a World Cup because of an easy run. Some teams make the final of a Champions League because of an easy run. The Europa League, easy run. It happens. Sometimes you get the knockout stage of death and sometimes you get a cakewalk, right? It doesn't matter who they put in front of you. You got to knock them down. You got to beat it. Whoever's in front of you, you got to beat it. And they got Sporting and they beat it. No matter how they did it, they did it. They're in the semis. City's not in the semis. At the end of the day, Arteta's having a great season, right? You got to beat City. If you don't beat City, the conversation we will have in the next video will be very, very different on Arsenal. But I don't think everyone should just turn the back. I've seen so many people online turning the back, going crazy. We could turn the back on Sunday if they lose. I think it's Sunday. If they lose to City, we could turn the back. We still having a different conversation about Arteta. I've even been the one to say that Arteta, if he chokes this, see you later. And I truly believe that. If he chokes this, Arteta's job needs to be on the line, and Arteta probably should lose their job. Because again, hats off to Sporting for the game they did. Unlucky to maybe not score 1 or 2 throughout this because they did hit the post. So did Arsenal, but they did hit the post. Jenny hit the post today. Moxie was very good for Sporting over the 2 legs. Sporting in general was pretty good over the 2 legs. I don't think Arsenal had an easy time with them at all. But at the end of the day, doesn't matter how you do it. Arsenal's into the semis, and they have an opportunity to go play the Champions League final, right? So it's only positives for Arsenal. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Doesn't matter how you did it. Defensively, ugly, boring. Doesn't matter, brother. They're in a Champions League semifinals, and they have City up on Sunday. And again, many Arsenal fans say, this is not acceptable. We should have annihilated Sporting. We're better than Sporting. You got to have respect for every team. Sporting is in a Champions League quarterfinals for a reason, right? They tied PSG or they beat PSG. They beat big teams to be where they were. They qualified in the top 8 of the Champions League. They did not play playoffs. Top 8 of the Champions League. They were where they were because they deserved to be there, right? That Bodo team that was having a Cinderella story beat them 3-0. They come back, beat them 5-0. Sporting deserved to be where they deserved to be. They played Arsenal well, and they proved they deserve to be there. So let's not just discredit Sporting. Arsenal had a tough team in front of them. They haven't been in good form, and it could have been a disaster for Arsenal, but they got through it, right? So that, for me, that's how I look at it. They got through it during a time that's bad for them. We'll see what happens on City. This whole conversation can change if they lose against City, but at the end of the day, boring game, absolutely. But I just don't think people should turn their back on Arsenal just yet. Semifinals of the Champions League, this season could be a magical season. They could go to a Champions League final if they can beat Aleti, and they could win the Premier League. I mean, that's what Arsenal fans dream of. So the dream is still on, bro. The dream is still on.